everyone, welcome to Backstory Sessions. I'm your host Matt. We hope you enjoy this episode.
Hey everybody, it's Kat, and I want to welcome you to this episode of Backstory Sessions. I'm joined today by my co-host Matt. Hey Matt.
Hey Kat, hey everyone, how are you?
Here we are. This is season 10, episode 2,
Yep.
and we are interviewing our guest JP Pennington today for the second time.
That's true, we are, yeah. He was on quite a while back, I think.
Yeah. It's just amazing to me, like, how meticulously we plan these episodes.
Yes.
Second time on, second episode of the season.
Yeah, that was...
One of us is a creative genius.
Yes, I wonder who that is.
Well, I'm really excited to, we've had a few people that we've had as a guest a couple of times. And I always find it interesting because, you can, like, people just have such fascinating stories. And the second time you interview them, you learn, like, all kinds of new things you didn't get the first time.
That is true, yeah. Usually they're on for different reasons, and we have had that happen for sure.
Yeah, I think we've had maybe a couple people 3 times even, but 2 is a rarity. We don't often get to talk to someone again. So I'm excited.
Yeah, it'll be interesting for sure.
And this is their 60th anniversary. 60 years.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't done anything except breathe for 60 years.
Well, I haven't been here 60 years yet, but 60 years is amazing.
Yeah.
First of all, to have a career for 60 years. I can't imagine teaching for 60 years, which was my first career. But being even being in something that you love, 60 years is a long, long time.
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, no matter how you slice it, it definitely is.
And, also 60 years with the same people is a lot of years.
Yeah, that is true. I've heard of people being married for 60 years, and, I can't imagine how that happens, but it's probably very similar.
That is different. That is like the sweetest thing ever when people can, stay married for 60 years.
Well, I mean, I imagine being in a band for 60 years has to be sort of similar. I mean...
I'm sure it's give and take. It maybe be more like a plural marriage, like...
Yeah, because you have 4 or 5 people in the band.
Right.
Yeah.
And, I mean... So you and I don't have very many disagreements about working together. We generally are on the same page about guests and things like that.
Yeah.
But can you imagine if we threw 3 more people into the decision-making process?
No, thank you.
Yeah. So, a band... I guess that's why a lot of them break up, because it's really hard to find personalities that you click with and are on the same page with.
Yeah, usually it's like creative differences or something like that.
Yeah, or one person, wants to go out on their own, like be
True.
A solo.
Yeah.
Which would be like somebody wanting to get divorced, I guess, and be single again. To go back to your analogy.
There you go.
But I mean, so this is something I can relate to is "Kiss You All Over," that song, but it's 45 years ago.
That's 45 years since it came out.
Yes.
Wow.
I mean, now that is shocking to me because it does not at all seem like that long,
Mm,
does it?
yeah, I don't know. To me, it does because I remember hearing it when it came out, and I was pretty young then.
Yeah, you would have to be in 45 years though. I mean, people still know this song. People still it's still a very popular song.
Sure.
And so another thing I liked the first time about JP is he's very down to earth and easy to interview. It's like talking to someone you've known for a long time. He's just very comfortable.
Yeah.
I feel like, and is the way that I felt. It was just a very easy interview.
I was thinking about this earlier, and I'm not sure if there's any connection, but I mean, his last name is Pennington, and you had the play, the reveal at the Pennington. I mean, I wonder if
Yes.
there's some connection there.
Well, I'm going to tell you one more too. When we're going to Harlan to do our show, um, the tourism director there is also named Pennington, Brandon Pennington.
Hmm.
So there has been like a strange amount of Penningtons crossing my path recently.
There you go. It's the I forget what they call it when like if you buy a like an example would be you buy a car and then you instantly notice like the same car on the road all the time
Yes.
passing you. Yeah.
I really don't think though that I crossed paths with that many Penningtons before.
Well, apparently you have because there's like three of them now or three.
I know.
So
So I mean, who knows where it's gonna end? Like I might have a whole play just about the Penningtons.
there you go.
In fact, that's a very royal sounding name there. So I'd like to use that sometime.
There you go. I'm sure JP won't mind.
No. Well, it'd be an honor, of course, to be in, unless you're the one that gets killed off. But
That's true.
even then, you can die with honor, right?
Yeah, that is true. Yeah. Maybe you
Yeah.
could.
And you have survived. Like, I never killed you off yet in any of the things that I've written.
Not yet.
So, you can always give some tips to the Penningtons on
I could, yes.
how to survive my.
Well, I mean, you could do like a historical drama kind of thing, and
Yeah. Well, this Halloween story we got coming up is kind of like it's got a little historical element to it, but they're already named. But we didn't really give them a last name, so
you're
they could
talking
be Penn.
you're talking about your Halloween play that's coming up.
Yes, yes, for the mystery meat. So,
Have you given it a name yet?
um, so we're still calling it that Halloween reveal right now.
Oh, okay.
Maybe let's make a deal. So we got still a few titles, but the script is finished. It's just a matter of what we're going to end up calling it. That's the best for promotion, really.
Okay.
Um, but back to Exile. This is the band, of course, and they're Kentucky based. So I love that about them.
Yeah.
And actually, the last time we interviewed JP, you were in Kentucky, and he talked about like places close to where you lived at that time.
That's right. He did. Yeah. Not far away. A couple
Yeah.
miles actually.
Yeah. So, they were like playing in Richmond and playing in high school, playing in parks and,
Yeah.
all of that. So I remember that from the last interview. And of course, a lot has changed for us. And also, we're going to find out what has changed for JP in Exile. But man, 60 years. I can't wait to hear the story. And their new album is out. It came out actually on Friday.
And they have
And
a
it's
new.
Million Miles Later is the title.
Oh, that's right. Yeah. And then they have a new single out.
Yeah, rough around the edges. So,
Hmm.
I feel like those are both inspired. Like, it'd be something that you wouldn't necessarily write at the beginning of your career. So I feel like they're a reflection. I guess we'll find that out if that's true, but that's my guess.
Alrighty. Well, I guess we can talk to JP and find out what's going on.
All right. Well, JP Pennington, welcome back to Backstory Session.
Good to be back, Kathy. How are you guys?
Yeah, we're doing well, and not as well as you are, though, because you've got a new album coming out just on the 25th, and a new single's going to be released from that. And this is the 60th anniversary of Exile. So, congratulations on all of that.
Well, thank you. We appreciate it. There's a lot going on at the moment. The album, like you said, is Friday. The single was actually released. It's been about 3 weeks ago, I guess, and it seems to be doing well, and so everything is just up and running, and we're hoping to see the fruits of our labor here pretty soon.
Well, the album is titled A Million Miles Later. So, I guess the first thing, has it really been a million miles, or did anybody like calculate that?
Well, we talked about that. It's the title. It's the title song of the album. As well as the album, which is the album title. But um, a million miles would not even come close to how far we've gone up and down the road. But as far as using it as a song title and singing it, it just sounded better. I mean, we could have called it 10 million miles later, but it just didn't roll off the tongue as well. But the song is actually a tribute to our fans. On the surface, the lyrics sound like a one-on-one relationship, but it's actually an ode to all the fans that we've had over the years and the fans that have stuck to us. So I thought it was time that we thank them for being such great fans and making it possible to keep us working. You know.
Well, that's an amazing tribute to fans. So it's really cool to hear that's like the motivation behind it. Um, so in the Million Miles, Exiles had, I think, 11 number one songs and three gold albums and over 8 million records. So, which of those statistics are you the most proud of?
Which of the accomplishments you mean?
Yeah, like so of number one songs or gold albums or 8 million records, over 8 million.
Well, personally, you might get a different answer from each individual guy in the band, but for me, I guess it's the acceptance of so many of songs that I've written or co-written, that we've had success with. That's strictly a personal satisfaction. As far as the group goes, I mean, I think just the fact that we managed to stay together this long, I think it says something for how we've learned to get along and learned to bend with each other over the years, It's not easy being in a band. It's pretty hard, but I think we've gotten lucky that we have five personalities that have to have a lot of respect for each other, and I think the accomplishment of being together 60 years says a lot for that.
Well, let's go back to 1963 when it was all beginning. Kind of give us a little overview of how the band got together, and how did you know that you wanted to make a band and pursue this career?
Well, we were all in high school at the time. I was 14. Yeah, the rest of the guys were a little older than me. Some maybe more than a little, 4 or 5 years. Which at that age, 4 or 5 year gap was pretty significant. But I remember I was mowing our grass one morning, and Jimmy Stokely and Billy Luxon pulled up in my driveway, and they walked up. I cut the mower off. I knew who Jimmy was. I'd never met him, and I didn't know Billy. But they said, "How would you like to be in a band?" What band? And I said, "Well, we're just trying to put it together. We don't have a name yet or anything like that. We're just trying to put together a few guys and go out and play a few local gigs and see if we can make a little bit of money and meet some girls." But, we didn't accomplish either one of those. But I said, yeah, I'd like to try it out, and they had 2 or 3 other guys lined up, and I remember my dad driving me over to the rehearsal. This is way before he had a driver's license, too young, but he drove me over to Richmond and dropped me off at this house, and they wanted me to play bass. I didn't have an electric bass, but somebody had borrowed one. I'd never even played one before, but I was fairly proficient at guitars, and they're similar. So I just went about the first rehearsal kind of by the seat of my pants, and they liked me okay, and we had I think we had 6 members to begin with, all high school guys, and we started getting some little sock hops and parties at the park, parties at the pool, and started making kind of a local name for ourselves, staying around the Richmond, Kentucky area, and it just sort of stuck. We started having fun. We started having people show up. We started having people calling us to come play at their event, whatever it might be. And it just sort of took. We were a band.
Didn't you say at one of your first gigs that a fight broke out or something? I thought I remember that story.
Yeah. We were playing at the City Park in Richmond.
Mm-hmm.
I forget the name of that little park, but we were playing along there. Things were going well, and a fist fight broke out in front of us. Kind of brought the whole thing to a screeching halt. Our singer wanted to get involved in it, but we wouldn't let him. But that was pretty common occurrence. You know, anytime there was a gathering of young kids, it always seemed like at least two of them get into it. You know, it was kind of part of the whole entertainment of the thing. But yeah, that was pretty common occurrence.
That's funny.
Well, did you then have an idea that this was going to go someplace, you know, after you started getting recognized locally and getting more gigs? Could you tell that you were a little different than, you know, maybe other bands?
Well, the one thing that happened that I think really helped us turn a corner was we were playing at a bar in Richmond. This was like 1966, 65 maybe. And one of Dick Clark's agents, lady, she was from Indiana. She happened to be home on Christmas break. And she ended up, just by happenstance, showing up where we were playing. And she liked the band, and she approached us afterwards and said, we're looking for a band to open shows for one of our Dick Clark tours. It was called the Dick Clark Caravan of Stars.
Hmm.
And she said your job would be, it was some funny, arbitrary thing, like your job would be to do like 12 minutes to open the show, and then you would do your, 3 songs or whatever it was, and the single acts on the package show would come out one after the other, and you would be their backing band.
Hmm.
And they were singers who had, hits of the day, like Freddie Cannon and Tommy Rowe and B.J. Thomas and people like that. And she asked us if we'd be interested in doing that. And I'm like, duh. Of course. I mean, we could actually escape town and get out on a bus and, and live the glamorous road life like we'd always dreamed. But we did that first tour, and it went really well, and they hired us for 2 more after that over the next couple of years. And that was our first taste of playing for really big crowds. There was us, the single acts, and then there was also a headliner. And for 2 of the tours, the headliner was Paul Revere and the Raiders. They were a huge act at the time.
Yeah.
And, that really showed us that we were good enough to keep up, because they kept asking us back. So that told us something. And that kind of started us being able to think a little bit bigger, instead of just thinking about, what part of the county are we going to play in next weekend. So we went all over the United States with those tours. We from east to west and north to south. It was really a great experience for us. We were so young, And
yeah, you couldn't have been more than 17, 18 at the time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. It was great.
Pretty good job right out of high school.
Were you fans as well, like of the headliners? Like, did you get to meet some people that you also loved as musicians?
Oh yeah, we met a lot of people. We got to know the Raiders. They were great. BJ and Freddie and all those guys. And even over, the rest of our careers. We're still meeting people that we admire.
Great.
You know?
Well,
But
so then how do you get to Kiss You All Over? So you're touring and you do that tour for a few years, and how do you end up with this song?
we were working with a producer out of L.A. His name was Mike Chapman, and we had been working with him for a couple of years. And he just had faith in us. He found us on a stack of reel-to-reel tapes that he had on his desk. Some
Wow.
management type person of ours had managed to find who he was, and we didn't know anything about him, but he his background was this immense amount of success in Europe, a lot of European acts, and he wanted to move to the United States because he wanted to break into this market, which was so much bigger, than the European market.
Mm-hmm.
So he moved to L.A. and our tape ended up on his desk, and he played it out of a stack, and he liked us. And long story short, he came to see us in Lexington. We were playing at the opening of an apartment complex, and and he came and he liked us, and he started writing songs for us, and he found us a couple of small record deals, with some labels, and we weren't having any success at first with that. And it went on. We kept hearing no, no,
Yeah.
don't like you, go somewhere else. And then finally, when we were at about the end of our rope, or the end of our run with Mike, he wanted to come to Lexington, where we all lived at the time. And he said, I think I've got this song that me and my partner have written. And I think it's a hit record. And I said, well, what is it? I said, well, I just want to come there, and I want to play it for you. And I want all the guys to be, in the room.
Mm.
So he comes to Lexington, and he brings his guitar with him, and he borrowed my amp, and he had this cheap little beatbox thing with him. So he had it programmed to this funky little groove, and he plugged it into one side of the amp, plugged his guitar into the other, and he just sang this song for us, and it was called I Want to Kiss You All Over. And we had heard no so much, with Mike and with different pretty significant labels.
Yeah.
That we didn't, we were kind of shell shocked from the whole thing, and we didn't think much about the song, that other than the fact that it sounded controversial.
Yeah.
In those days, you just didn't say I want to kiss you all over on the radio.
Yeah.
Right.
But we agreed to record it, and he funded a recording session to do that song and one more at a studio up in northern Kentucky. So we cut Kiss You All Over, just like it ended up appearing on the record, and we cut another song, can't think of what it was, but it also ended up on the album. But he took these two songs and started shopping them around in L.A. to record labels.
Mm.
And one of the first places he went was to Mike Curb. Mike Curb had a record label, and he also happened to be Lieutenant Governor of California at the time. It's only in California, right?
Yeah.
But Mike loved the song. He liked it. Mike Curb loved the song so much that he said, I want to sign them. And I want to sign them to a 3-album, 3-year deal. And this was just on the strength of how he felt, of how strongly he felt about Kiss You All Over.
Mm.
I mean, it's hard to go in and play one song for a person. They sign you to a multi-album deal.
Yeah.
But Kerb, he heard it. You know, he felt sure of it, and he was right. You know, it wasn't just a few months later. You know, after we'd gone back to Kentucky and finished the album, that the song entered the charts, and it just shot to number one. I mean, it was like a rocket. It went up the charts so fast.
How did that feel after you all had so much rejection, and then all of a sudden you've got a number one song?
Well, we were beside ourselves. You know, we didn't really know how to act. We'd never experienced any success on a national level.
Yeah.
But you know, we were just so excited. I mean, we were beside ourselves. It was unreal.
And then the money started rolling in.
It did. Yeah, it did. I mean, we were finally able to pay the rent on time. and make a car payment, you know, but without any worries anymore, you know. But
yeah,
it was a great feeling. One that, you know, we had subsequent number one records, a lot of them in country music, but we never really felt like that. You know, that initial shock, you know, it was just really something else.
That's awesome.
Do you remember when you first heard it on the radio?
Yeah, I do. We were in on a big radio station. First time I heard it was when we were booked to do the Midnight Special in L.A. And our record label had a limo to pick us up at the airport, and which was another thing we'd never experienced before. You know, we really thought we were really something.
Yeah.
But you know, there was a radio in the back compartment where we were sitting. Somebody flipped, and it just happened to be, and "Kiss You All Over" came on. Then we just went nuts. Just about fell out of the car. That was a great experience. I had heard it on our local radio station in Richmond before that, because I knew the DJ, and he said, "I'm going to play this record, and I'm going to tell you what time I'm going to play it. So get in your car and drive around and do whatever you need to do, because I'm going to play it." So actually, it was Lexington. But on a grand scale, the whole limo thing was the first time.
Wow.
I had heard it. Yeah.
So I hear that when you all were rehearsing this song, that you were at Aunt Frankie's in Waco, Kentucky.
Aunt Frankie's. How in the world did you hear about Aunt Frankie?
I did my research, and I thought that was pretty interesting to have Aunt Frankie.
Sure did, yeah. Yeah, the producer I mentioned before, Mike Chapman, he always liked to rehearse the songs out, you know, before we go and record them, so we'd be really prepared and not have to waste a whole lot of studio time, you know, experimenting. But yeah, we used to rehearse out at their keyboard player's Aunt Frankie's. It was used to be a gas station, but it was next to her house, and she bought it and turned it into her personal garage where she parked her car. You know, it had a little bit of heat in there. So he blow just to keep keep the chill off, just enough to keep the chill off. But yeah, we rehearsed a lot at Aunt Frankie's. She had this black Cadillac, and when she would come home from somewhere, we could see her coming. We'd been there rehearsing, and we always lifted this huge bay door up, like gas stations had. That door must have weighed 10,000 pounds, But we pulled the door up from her one day, and she got about halfway pulled in, and somebody quit minding the door, and it dropped on top of her car. That's her heart.
Oh, no.
And it messed the roof up pretty bad. But she just laughed. She laughed.
Wow. Well, Aunt Frankie sounds like worthy of a shout out. That's a pretty cool person that would just laugh when you do that.
Yeah, she was. She put up a lot with us over there playing all loud and everything. And I mean, between the walls of that garage and the walls of her house, there was nothing that could stop that, But she never said a word. And we never saw her, except when she pulled in, She just, Aunt Frankie.
Wow. Well, I find it interesting that one of the bands that you were touring with, like in the kind of the rock or pop phase, was Aerosmith, which I love also. But, I hear like there was a moonshine story connected with them.
Yes, there was. We got booked to do like a 15-city tour or whatever, something like that. And I guess it was in the winter of '78. And we were getting ready to do a show one night. We're in the dressing room, and Steven Tyler walks in. And we'd met him before. We loved him. He was a great guy. And he walked in and said, "You guys are from Kentucky, right?" I said, "Yeah." And he said, "You know a lot about moonshine?" He said, "Well, I guess, yeah. What do you need to know?" And he said, "Well, we'd like you to get us some for the band." And well, we said, "Well, we'll work on that. Yeah, we could, we got connection. We'll work on that." So we left them for that weekend and came home and found them 2-gallon jars of moonshine. I remember it had peaches floating in it. Pure moonshine. And excuse me, I'm sorry. So we met them somewhere else that next weekend, and somebody went and got it. We had the moonshine in the dressing room. Somebody went and got it. He came in. We gave him and his excuse me.
You're fine.
Him and his assistant or whatever, 2 jars, right? Gallon jars. So we did the gigs, we did the shows that weekend. Same scenario. Came back the next weekend, and he comes walking in the dressing room, right? He says, "Man, what was in that? What was in that moonshine you gave us?" He said, "Well, it was just pretty much just grain alcohol, with some peaches for flavoring, He said, "It about killed us." I said, "Well, how much did you drink?" And he said, "We drank all of it." they drank 2 gallons. I don't know if they did it over the course of one night or whatever, but it was funny. We all just laughed, and he laughed. It was great. It was great. But we always sort of looked at ourselves after that as the band that almost killed Aerosmith. But he was really cool about it. It always, you know, when you meet somebody that you look up to, somebody that's famous, and you get to meet them, and they actually turn out to be a cool person. There's something about that you know that really sticks with you.
Yeah.
You know?
Do you still have the same excitement? You know, like when I guess you all over. This is 45 years. You know, its
Yeah.
own history, which is amazing that you have a song with that longevity and people still love and sing and remember. Do you still get excited when you hear it, or have you performed it so much that you'd rather not hear it at times?
No, you know, I think as we've aged, uh, we we've come to realize how much that song meant to our careers and still does. And especially when we play it in front of a crowd,
Yeah.
you know, we've kind of learned to try and put ourselves in their shoes, and they're hearing this song, and a lot of them have probably never heard us play it before, you know, and the ones that have, that song is one of the main reasons they've come back to see us. They're our fans, you know.
Right.
And we try to put ourselves in their shoes, and it helps us it just helps us to see kind of what they're feeling, and it makes us get a lot more out of it when we perform it live. We've learned to appreciate what it's been, you know. I mean, we can play 3 seconds of that song, and that audience is just right on it, you know.
Yeah.
It's good to have a record like that in their pocket.
Sure. Well, then you go ahead. I'm sorry.
So I just said we're very proud of it.
Yeah, because as you were saying, like just immediately of hearing a few seconds of it, people are ready to sing all the words, and I can just see the energy is probably really strong at your concerts when that comes on. Do people share like personal experience stories that that around that song, like what it's meant to them? It was their girlfriend song or boyfriend song.
Sure. Yeah, many people.
Yeah.
Many people. We get that. We get that all the time. Even some stories that I can't tell. But yeah, we do. We get that a whole lot, and it feels good. It feels great.
Well, you make the transition to country music, and it seems like that you've found, a new, um, I guess, experience with your music. You've stayed with that for many years now. So, what was it like transitioning?
Over to country?
Yes.
Well, I wouldn't say it was a whole lot different than the crowds we played to at pop, or the way we went about our business. As far as our music goes, we didn't really change what we were doing a whole lot. The types of songs that we were writing and recording, but I think that we found out pretty quick that the country audiences seem to have a bit more loyalty than pop audiences did. And we still got people coming to our shows that saw us 40 years ago. Some of them we've even gotten to know. They've come to so many shows. You know, pop music, I don't know if you get that so much.
Right. Well, let's talk about the new single, "Rough Around the Edges." Did you write that song?
Yeah, wrote it with my bandmate Les Taylor and our friend Larry Cordell. I don't know if y'all are familiar with Larry or not, but
I've heard the name.
yeah, he's a great songwriter. He's also a great artist in his own right. He's had several hits on his own. He wrote the song "Murder" on Music Row. I don't know if you've ever heard that song. Great
Yeah.
song.
Yeah.
Highway 40 Blues. He wrote that.
Well,
He's a long-time friend. We actually wrote that song at Larry's house about 25 years ago. So
well,
it's not a new song. And we were looking toward the end of the album, the recording process of the album. We felt like we needed one more really up-tempo song.
mm-hmm.
And my wife said, "Well, why don't you cut Rough Around the Edges?" I said, that's too old. Maybe we should write something, you know. She said, "Well, but it's a great song, you know." And I thought about it for a second. I said, "Well, you know, you're right." So I felt like it would be a great one for Les to sing. You know, it's one of the last songs we cut on the project.
And so you have 16 tracks on this album. That's that's a pretty ambitious project. So how long did it take to put this together?
The recording process took about 14 months, you know, to do from track 1 through track 16. And we spent quite a bit of time prepping before that, writing, you know, new material and just getting started. And as we, you know, we would record 3 songs at a time, and then we would go back in and start writing again and come up with 2 more new ones and find one out of the archives that we thought we might bring back, you know. And by the time we did that, it would be 2 months later, and we were ready to go in and record the next 3. So that was kind of the way we did the whole thing.
So have you found that, like, being together for so long with the same people, like, does that make it easier to make decisions about what songs you're going to put on the album?
Ask me that once more.
Yeah, so I can imagine it's hard to get 5 people, or how many people ever have to agree, on the songs that you're going to end up choosing when you can only choose 16. So being together, like, all the years, do you kind of have a vision that's similar, or do you still have, like, no, I don't know if we should do this one, and some people thinking, yeah.
I see where you're coming from. We our visions are similar. I mean, we know, we're all aware of what kind of band we are, what works for us, and what absolutely does not work for us, you know. But when it comes to choosing songs, in some cases, you know, it's not unanimous when a song is presented to the band. It could be, you know, there might be one guy that says, "Well, and everybody tries to be so polite. It's so funny, you know. Well,
Yeah.
At each other. But when we do have a, kind of a stalemate like that, then we'll go to our democratic process. We're an odd number, so we vote, and the vote is never a tie. So
Yeah.
we've done it that way before too, and it seems to work okay. And whoever was voted down, I mean, it's not like they have a screaming tantrum.
Yeah.
I mean, we're all grown men, we just take it in pride. It's no big deal,
Yeah.
We've always had agreements, but they're never loud and they never last very long.
Yeah. Have you ever?
Cool.
So you guys have written a lot of songs together and separately and stuff. Have you ever heard a song that you've written previously, like maybe way back, and just don't remember it? And like, you hear it and you're like, well, who wrote that?
I've never heard one audio-wise that I don't remember.
Right.
But I've seen song titles
Yeah.
of
Okay.
songs that I no longer have access to.
Mm-hmm.
Like either on an old tape or that I've lost or some record somewhere, something that I can't find.
Yeah.
I've seen a lot of titles that I don't remember. I don't remember how they went.
Yeah, I see.
Yeah.
So you're playing the Opry tonight, I heard.
Yeah, we're going on tonight. Tonight is Trace Atkins. They're celebrating his 30th anniversary as an Opry member tonight.
Wow, that's awesome.
And Trace is a good friend, and he's going to come out and do "Kiss You All Over" with us tonight.
Oh, cool.
Oh.
Yeah, we've done over the years. We've done it probably a dozen times. We have a lot of fun with it.
Do you know how many times you played the Opry?
Something like 115 or something like that.
Wow. Is it still as exciting as the first time you did?
Oh yeah, I'm always nervous when we walk out there.
Yeah.
Opry's a big deal. It's a big deal. It's one of those famous music venues on earth. And you're always on your toes when you do the Opry.
Lots of history there for sure.
We're doing 3 songs tonight. We're doing "Woke Up in Love," which is one of our country hits.
Mm-hmm.
And we're doing the new single, "Rough Around the Edges," and then we'll do "Kiss You All Over" with Trace.
Cool.
3 songs and a cloud of dust. Right?
All right, Kat, we'll give you a chance to ask one more question before we let JP go.
So as you look back over the 60 years, what are your thoughts on the career and the growth that you've seen, and how it's turned out from beginning when you're mowing the yard, and now you're going to be on the Opry tonight. So.
Well, my first thought is I'm the luckiest guy that ever lived. It's been a wonderful career. I mean, I've seen so much, been so many places, and we've had our share of success. And I met my wife, who I've had a beautiful relationship with, a beautiful family. Met her in the music business, and there's just been so many good things about it. They've been bad too, there always are.
Yeah.
But the good far outweighs the bad. It's been a great ride, and we're still going. We don't have any plans to retire or anything like that. I mean, here we are going to the Opry, and as soon as we get through the Opry tonight, we're getting on the bus, going to Florida and doing a show tomorrow night, and then leaving there tomorrow night and going to South Carolina and doing a show on Friday. So,
Mm.
you know, we're loving what we're doing. You know, somebody, I think Willie Nelson said it best. He said, somebody asked him, when are you going to retire? He said, well, never. You know, why would you retire from doing something you love?
Yeah.
And we've been very lucky. So, we really have. So we're still going strong.
That's awesome.
Well, it sounds like we'll be having you back, you know, on your 70th anniversary. So.
Well, that's kind of what we're shooting for. When 50 happened, we said our mantra is going for 60. So I guess we're going to have to say going for 70 now. You know? We might take it in 5-year increments. I think that's what we did. That's what we went from 50 to 55 to 60. Maybe we'll go to 62. You know, whatever. We don't have any plans to stop anytime soon. We never even talk about it.
That's interesting. Well, JP, we want to thank you for your time. We really, really appreciate it. Wish you all the best, and hope you'll come back soon and talk to us.
You guys just say the word and get in touch with our gal that puts us all together. And I'd love to talk with you anytime you feel the need. You need to know anything at all, you can count on me. I'll be there.
Thank you, sir. We appreciate you so much. Have a safe trip to Nashville, and we'll talk to you soon.
Okay. Thanks, guys.
All right. Take care. As always, if you have any questions, concerns, or comments, you can send those to Kat at iWritePlays@outlook.com, or you can write to me at backstorysessions@gmail.com or matt@level11ventures.com. Thanks for listening, and we'll talk to you soon. Take care.